Listen, we have a great show lined up for you. I'm your host, Kim Jacobs, better known as the Balance Doctor. And all of our guests that come on, they're either people that have overcome some tremendous odds in their own lives as they balance this thing called life, or they're experts and they're here to share tips and strategies that will help you better balance and manage your life. Grab your virtual seats and let's get ready for some real relevant and relatable content on today's episode of The Kim Jacobs Show. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Kim Jacobs Show, where we're bringing balance to the world, one household at a time. Thank you so much, Sharon D. Brown. She's actually our own expert. She comes on Freestyle Fridays, but today I have her with me exclusively. Welcome, Sharon D. Brown. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing well. I was like, I've been meaning to come, back, should I say. So it definitely always feels good to kind of be solo with you. So I really appreciate it.
I'm excited. And I told you backstage, I love your look. You're absolutely gorgeous. And so I'm just so excited when I get one-on-one time with our experts that share with you all on our Friday episodes usually. So as you all are grabbing your virtual seats, go ahead and make friends, your family, coworkers, and let everybody know that we are in for a wonderful treat today with Sharon D. Brown. So we're going to be talking today about how to merge your finances and being an entrepreneur together, having them collide. Self-care, entrepreneurship, finances, all merged into one topic today. That's going to be good, right?
Oh, yeah, most definitely.
So I want to tell you that Sharon D. Brown is the visionary behind Self-Care U Academy, where she helps female entrepreneurs and leaders integrate self-care into their daily lives to sustain their sanity. We all need that. And authenticity in both business and personal well-being. She's developed frameworks and community courses surrounding all of these things that are focused on authenticity, choosing challenges over comfort, wellness, and wealth. Welcome again, Sharon, to the Kim Jacobs Show.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. This is like just dear to my heart. You know what I'm saying? Like when it comes to self-care. And if I can pretty much just kind of talk a little bit about how this movement started for me, because, for any of us, something starts somewhere. And really, now that I'm, to be honest, really talking about it, they both, the self-care piece, and then we were talking about the financial liberation. When I really think about it, they really both started at the same place, but it had taken me years to really, even for myself, to really come into that. So with the self-care piece, that really started, I want to say it's twofold. It started with my own personal stressful time. It was after a breakup, it was like, and I tell people, y'all, I cried for 40 days and 40 nights. I really did. I did. And that was really.
Okay, I'd have muted myself. Sorry. I would say that's so true because sometimes when we are experiencing a breakup, it's like a death, in my opinion, because you were a part of what you expected to have happen died. It fell off. It was no longer. It's never going to be again. Even though the person may be walking on this earth, it's still a very hurtful, tragic experience, depending upon how it hits you.
Yeah, it really does. And pretty much at that particular time in my life, I was already in a sense of like, how else can I help individuals? And like for individuals who don't know, it's like I am a mental health therapist. And so I'm, licensed clinical social worker, went to school, trained and everything. But that doesn't exempt nobody from going through anything. doesn't exempt anybody. But the thing is, at that particular time in my life, I was already kind of like in a sense of thinking about like how can I help people in a different way. But when that had happened, it really felt like it was a brick wall. And one thing that I do want to say, even though like maybe just in the initial phase, it made it felt like it was a person, but then I knew that no, this isn't the person who's in front of me. It is what it represented, you know. And so in that piece, because I was hurting so bad, again, crying before work, after work, driving to Columbia, visiting my family, wiping those tears. But, and again, each person is different. But I knew at that particular time that talk therapy wasn't going to do it. There's
Mm,
nothing that no one can really say to make me feel better or anything. So with that, I decided to go to a yoga class. And that's how I came into yoga, because it came again at a very stressful time in my life.
mm,
And so with that, what pretty much happened, I'm like, oh, okay, I want to study it. Let me study this so I can help people in a different way.
mm,
And then from there, I had already like studied to be study for personal training certification. And with that, they had like motivation interviewing. And I'm familiar with it, like from being a therapist. And so I was like, well, let me learn more about it from, the personal training part. But y'all know what? That is what really started it, because the motivation interviewing led into motivational and then motivational speaking, and I have been binging ever since and have never turned back.
mm. Wow. And so, with that particular time in your life, having almost like a complete death happening in somebody that you knew would still be alive and walking around, but you had to be by force going on about your business,
Mhm.
you turned to learning more about yoga. And so, yoga did what for you in that situation?
Very good question. Very good question. In that particular time, I had like a regular exercise routine, but I knew that exercise, it just wasn't decreasing my heart rate, because I
Mm.
felt it. And if you ever experience it,
Yeah, it's
it's like you feel your heart rate racing, and it just wasn't doing it. So I knew I needed to calm that down. And
mm,
that's what yoga did for me. It helped calm down. It helped settle me. It helped
mm,
calm down my heart rate. And I want to say along the way, because this happened more so in yoga teacher training, because for anyone who went to yoga teacher training, you know how that is. And literally, like in one setting, you can, because we're practicing everybody's routine, we
mhm,
can literally like do 4 or 5 yoga
mm.
classes at one time. And so, yeah.
Wow. Well,
And
let
so,
yeah.
go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, because at one time I don't know what the difference is between yoga and Pilates and different things, because I'm ignorant to that, right? But
Mhm,
I went to a class one time, and for some reason I got so relaxed
mhm.
that I was like, whoever is in this room snoring like that, that is so rude. They should go home. They should go home, because they had told us to find the center of our earth, all of this stuff, and I was so, I was so whoosha. All of a sudden, I realized, I said, "Well, who is that? That they have to stop. They're snoring out loud." It was me, Sharon. I was the one snoring that loud.
Oh, that is too funny.
I was in the wrong outfit, and I was in just regular shorts and a striped T-shirt. Everybody else was in these yoga pants and mats, and I'm in there snoring my brains out with probably the most relaxation ever. Anyway, I just thought I'd throw that in there.
Oh yeah, yeah, it can definitely do that. And then the other part of it too, even though this has not happened to me, but I've heard some people that sometimes, because it releases all of the emotions, because when it comes to us as human,
Mhm.
we may not realize it. Like we may feel it in our heart. So just think, we're feeling it in our heart. So that does become almost like a part of us
Mhm.
physically until we're able to release it. And
Mm.
so, in saying that, for some individuals, they can go to yoga class and they can really like start crying because they're releasing something from themselves, from their body.
So are you doing this more from a, because I get a lot of people whenever, especially when I have shows like this, they'll say,
Hmm.
"Oh, well, Kim, you believe in the yoga or spirituality?" I don't know what you're even talking about. Number one, number two is I'm it's an exercise in my opinion, but I don't
Hmm.
know because I don't know. You don't know what you
Hmm.
don't know. First of all, I want everybody in the comment section out in the audience, tell me how you de-stress. What are some things that you do to offer stress relief in your life? And I see you over there on Instagram too, and I'll come back over to you. So put your comments and I'll acknowledge those as well. But is this more of a spiritual thing or is this more of an exercise thing for you? What is it?
Yeah, for me, I would say like from what I from what I have come to realize, I would say it's more spiritual.
Okay. And in what
And if
way
you,
does that work? Because people that do
yeah,
yoga may know.
because if you pretty much with yoga in and of itself, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to like connect them both,
Mhm,
because we can't separate ourselves from ourselves, so we're physical too.
mhm,
So it's kind of both to a certain extent, but in and of itself, yoga isn't just the practice of yoga, because a lot of times, meaning like the asanas, when you go to a yoga class, it's more than that.
mhm,
We're accustomed to that part of it. So that's why some people say, oh, it's stretching, it's the exercise piece, but it's you. Because even just by exercising, by walking, by doing martial arts, really everything in your life is yoga, especially when we're talking about the 8 limbs of yoga. And there's the more of the philosophy, but
okay,
in essence, it's for you to connect with you and for
mm,
you to connect with your higher self. And so, in saying that, like going back to when I was crying for 40 days and 40 nights, I
mhm.
was sick of it. I was sick of it. You know how they say when you get sick and tired of being sick and tired? I
Right.
was sick and tired of crying.
Mhm,
And so even though I was, in yoga teaching training, and like I explained of like how often we did it when we had the classes, so
mhm,
I had the practice, but it still wasn't releasing. It
mhm,
helped, but it wasn't completely releasing. But in one of these times when I was crying profusely, just
mm,
crying, 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 I'm like, okay, I'm so tired. And so I got to go deep within myself. So that's when I took that deep breath. And remember, a part of yoga, because there's 8 limbs of yoga, in which meditation is part of that. And so I went deep within myself, and then that was when I was able to quiet, I guess, just say, the noise.
mhm,
And that's that part of that meditative state. So the meditative state is what helps settle me more so than anything else. But
mm.
again, remember, a lot of times people say yoga and meditation as if they're separate, but they're all, meditation is a part of yoga.
Interesting. Yeah, I was looking here at yoga. It says the 8 limbs of yamas: abstinence, observances, posture, breathing, withdrawal, concentration, meditation, and absorption. And that's interesting because, like, for me, whenever I do get relaxed in any of my forms of exercise that I ever do, I feel like I have a closer connection to God
Yep.
in those moments. For me, I can only speak, everybody, you can speak for yourselves, but I can just say that whenever I'm more relaxed, I feel like God is able to speak to me more. And he's like, finally, you're cleared out enough to even hear what I'm trying
Mm-hmm.
to impart to you. And for me, that can be through, I'll listen to my gospel music and then I'll cut it off and I'm like, oh, I get downloads almost like, oh my
Mm-hmm.
God, I just needed to get into a different mindset so that I could receive what God was trying to pour into me. And I'm assuming, because I don't do yoga per se. I don't. practice yoga or anything,
Mhm.
but when I see people that do practice yoga consistently, you seem, and this is to me based on observing you, and so I don't want to talk about you 'cause I don't know too many people like that, but you seem just so grounded and
Mhm.
rooted, and I see you even in worship experiences when we're praising the Lord together, because I've witnessed that too. And I
Mhm.
just I look I I feel like it's just like, I can't speak about yoga, but I just feel like what the outcome is that
Yes.
you seem to be more in tune with your Lord and Savior. That's what I've observed.
Yeah.
But tell me if I'm
Yeah.
wrong.
Oh, no, that's it, and again, pretty much the whole purpose of it is so that we can get connected with ourself and our higher self, and in that other level, and for some individuals, it's God, the universe, or whatever that is for individuals. Some individuals may not look at it that way
Right,
because they
right.
may not believe, but for those of you who do, that is a way to get there in and of itself. And
Mhm,
so, in saying all of that, that was like the beginning. Even though before that, I've exercised and eat healthy, but that was pretty much the level of my self care. And that have been, up and down, in and out, as we kind of do sometimes. But in being like more focused and like, well, what is this? And then along the way, then I realized, oh, I lost myself somewhere in life, and,
mhm,
getting reconnected with myself. But in doing that healing phase, I was able to really observe certain things, and then became almost like more in tune even to other people, especially in working in the mental health field. So in saying that, just in general, that's how my beginning of self-care.
mhm,
And what I notice, especially when it comes to other people, is that we're not doing the basic a lot of
mhm.
times of taking care of ourselves.
That's good. That's good. So
Mhm.
elaborate more on that. I see you saying bald is great. And so BOU said bald is great. Love your look over there, Sharon D. Brown. And I see you, Helena. You said you're watching. I do like to acknowledge you all. I see you, Dennis Spraggin, saying you're watching. My mom, you're watching. I see all of you all. And I see you over there too on Instagram, Lady J. Hey, it's Felicia, Charisman, Finities, Camellia. I see all of you all. So thank you all. And all of you that don't put comments. I still see you, but it would be great if you put a comment. That way I can formally acknowledge you. So let's go with that more. You said people have a difficult time really finding out who they really are, who their true selves. And one of the things that when I was researching more about you, is authenticity. Really
Mhm.
are heavily interested in talking about. And when I looked up, the authenticity is the quality of being genuine. You might question the authenticity of something, like in this example, they said a photo of a UFO. We're not sure about the authenticity of that, sir. But the word authenticity is the state of something being authentic or legitimate or true, according
Mhm.
to vocabulary.com. Talk to us about authenticity from your perspective.
Yeah, the thing is, when it comes to that, is especially the more that I would say do my own work, in that we may think that we're being authentic, but sometimes we're not always being who we truly are or who we are meant to be. And especially when we have a mission, especially we have a movement or a ministry. So, like I was saying about the breakup, during that time of healing, someone can say, well, you were being your authentic self, you were allowing the floodgate to open. That's true. But at the same time, I wasn't living completely of who I was meant to be, meaning love, peaceful person in doing God's work, because of the fact at that particular time. And it happens in life, especially like when it comes to trauma
Mhm,
and different things that come to be. But even, it can even be things that's not even a breakup or a devastation. It can be like say when it comes to our interaction with others. Let's say someone say, "Hey, I want you to," let's just say somebody may invite me on their show and I look them up. I'm like, "Ooh, this isn't quite me." But let's just say if I decide to do it anyway. So if I do it anyway, then I'm not being in alignment of who I truly am. It's almost kind of like if you kind of like passively agree with someone. You don't outwardly disagree, but you don't, like let them know that you disagree with them. And
Mhm.
so is are you being your true self?
Mhm.
There are times in which you can use discernment when it comes to that. But at the same time, if you're not in alignment, kind of going back to when I was crying, yes, there's certain things that kind of come with that. But when you're not in alignment with yourself, it causes certain things. You can have high blood pressure. It causes stress.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It causes, physical stuff that can be going on with you, especially when stress is there. So
That's right.
when we're not in our true alignment
That's
and being genuine at heart,
right. Mm.
we're disrespecting ourselves, we're dishonoring ourselves, and we're dishonoring who we honor.
That's right. I love it. I love the way that you phrase that. What do you think is causing so much of a struggle for women when it comes to, especially women entrepreneurs and business owners, ministry leaders, when coming to the realization that I'm struggling with authenticity? What's your theory surrounding that?
Yeah, pretty much my theory is one, by being a female,
Hello.
is one, sometimes it depends on, it's not in every home, but sometimes a lot of times it depends on what goes on in the home. But it's the messages that we get. It's what we see, what we witness, but also the messages that we get from the world. Because basically we have been told, some kind of way we're supposed to like take care of others.
Mhm.
And there's nothing wrong with that, but no one never says for you to take care of yourself.
Which is
You
bizarre,
know what I'm
right? That's the most
Yeah,
important person you have to take care of in order to even be physically able to take care of anybody else.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then there's this thing about this niceness.
Mm,
Now, my theory around that, some of it is regarding the subliminal messages we get, the direct messages that we get.
mhm,
But also, and this is the part where self-care comes into play, is that male or female, most of us, I want to say none of us, have really been taught about to self-regulate.
mhm.
Because when we're uncomfortable, let's just say a difference in opinions. When we talk about conflict resolution, people think it's conflict. Is it conflict or just a difference in opinion?
Right. It's just that I don't agree with what you agree with, and that's okay.
Yeah.
We're okay to disagree and move on about our business.
But the average person isn't even, that's not even talked about, because most of the time, most people, they always want somebody else to feel better. Like if I don't like something, they're like, "Oh, well, it'll be okay." You know what I'm saying?
No, get off me! Get off me! That is not okay. I need help. Right.
And it's okay to feel. And that's the other part. It's not giving
Mhm.
individuals the authority and the agency to feel,
Mm.
just to feel, you know, to feel disappointed, to be angry. There's a healthy anger. It's okay to be angry.
Oh yeah, because like I'm not even gonna remotely lie that I was mad, upset, disappointed, angry, pissed. If that's a word, I don't know. If you, wait a minute, I don't know. Am I allowed to say that as a pastor? Ooh, no. Okay, I know somebody clip that out and be like, "Look what the pastor's saying, pissed." Okay, listen. when you've been married, I was married for 28 years, right?
Mhm,
Together for 34. That's a long time since I was 18 years old with this one person. Period.
mhm.
And now I don't profess to be a nun, and I'm not trying to be a nun, right? But at the end of the day, I've been with one person since I was 18 years old, and even up to this point, that is disappointing. And so to
Yeah,
not be able to express that feeling to God, to my friends, even that care about me, and say, this is how I truly am feeling, or to my therapist, to my counselor, I
mhm.
have to be able to get that off of me, or it's a heavy laden, a weight.
Yes,
And so
yes.
I just use that myself as an example.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because all of those things, like, impact us, and so, like, and especially, like, in the workplace,
Mhm.
it's kinda like you can't express anything, you know what I'm saying? It's like, and then, just to put race out there as Black women, if we voice ourselves, it's like, "Oh, the angry Black person, the angry Black woman," but that's not true. It's kind of like, no, I don't agree with this policy, or agree with this procedure, or
Right.
how things are going. So in saying that, it's the feelings that come up that we hadn't always been taught of what to do with it, because we just know it's uncomfortable, so we're doing everything that we can, and most of the time that is to give in
Hmm.
to the person, the
Succumb,
place, or the situation,
right?
or to suppress,
Suppress
you
yourself.
know? And
Dumb
it's just
down, dull down. It's
yeah.
like, why do I have to do that? For to make
Mhm.
you happy, and then that sacrifices my happiness? Why? Why can't we just both coexist and both shine? Why
Yeah,
not?
exactly. And so in saying that, and one of the things that I've seen, especially when I have worked for behavioral health call center, it really allowed me to see it more in depth. I
Mhm.
was really able to observe, because I come across so many different people, so many people, different levels, and things like that. And I'm like, what's causing their suffering? And part of it is because of the fact, again, when it comes to that self-regulation of our emotions that come up. And a lot of times people think that it's not okay, or they seem weak, and that's not true. And kind of going back to you were asking about, like, as women, it's like we get this message, oh, we need to be nice and kind, and so the underlying message to that is like, oh no, you cannot, tell what you truly feel. So in saying that, and I'm going to use this as an example,
Mhm.
I do truly believe that we're all born not just with our gift, but just with certain things about us. And like for me, it's affirmations. And at one time I thought that I like affirmations, and then through life, and it would go up and down when I would read them, and sometimes I make them up myself even before I even knew what they were.
Right, right. Just
And but what I'll say, as the years went by, especially in experiencing certain things and in being a giver, because I didn't need it at most part of my life. I didn't need it because I had it.
right.
But what I learned is, if you don't feed yourself the thing of what you are, your well will run dry.
Mm. That's good.
Yeah.
That right there is that's a nugget. Somebody should type that. Say it one more time because I want a note taker to put it over in the comment section.
If you do not feed yourself the thing of what you are, your well will run dry. And so, in saying that too, is that it's that sense of, even though consciously I'm not thinking I'm not enough, but if I'm not feeding myself
Mhm,
affirmations,
mhm,
the
mhm.
subliminal message that I'm giving myself is that I'm not enough.
You still doing it subconsciously. Subliminally.
Exactly.
That is beautiful. You
Because we're not feeding ourselves.
right. Okay.
And that's a part of self-care.
Mhm.
Self-care isn't just about, eating healthy and exercising. It's almost like it's the thing to get to the destination.
Okay, we're going to talk about that destination some more, everybody. I want to know a time where maybe you didn't feel like you were allowed to share or express yourself in the studio audience type of time. And even also share what are some creative ways that you are forcing yourself to go in the direction of your destination. And when we come back from this commercial break, we're going to hear some strategies and tips from the self-carepreneur herself, which is Sharon D. Brown. I want to always give you the opportunity to know how to stay connected with her throughout the entire broadcast. So just let them know right now. We're going to share it multiple times. Tell them.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. You can go to the IG, Instagram at I am Sharon D. Brown. Again, I am Sharon D. Brown.
So everybody, ones that are over there, and there's quite a few of you tuning in over on Instagram today, make sure you go to I am Sharon D. Brown and start following her today. Sharon, make sure you check your phone too and see if any people start following you throughout the commercial break. All right. So also I want to let you all know, because sometimes I do believe wholeheartedly in the word of God, we don't receive some things because we ask too vaguely and we ask amiss, and therefore nobody knows really what to do to really help you or support you. I'm asking you all today for a minimum of 10 of you to please take a moment and partner with the Kim Jacobs Show and pour into our broadcast. We come on Monday through Friday at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time. But just like other international broadcasts and nationally syndicated shows that are out there, some of them rely heavily on community contributions. Well, I'm asking you to be one of our community contributors here on the Kim Jacobs Show. If you would, you can just donate by sending a cash app to $ Kim Jacobs Inc. or PayPal. You can use PayPal, and it's paypal.me/Kim Jacobs Inc. We also have Venmo at the Kim Jacobs Show, or even Zelle. And Zelle is 704-962-7161. Sometimes people join our actual programs. And so we have the Patreon program where you get exclusive behind the scenes content, and we have several members there. And then we also have our Mother Dreamer program as well. So please feel free to become a part of anything that keeps our program coming into your household each day, Monday through Friday. And the other thing I do want to let you know, as before I take this brief commercial break, is that I have a bundle deal that's available to you right now with 2 books over there. Rise Up, Women Who Lead, Building Legacy. I get a lot of people requesting that book because they're trying to figure out how to leave and build a legacy for their families. This is 33 authors that's in this book, and I'm one of them. My children wrote my chapter in the book, Rise Up, Women Who Lead, Building Legacy. And we've coupled that book with Extreme Balance Makeover, which is where I had the opportunity to be a guest expert on NBC show called Charlotte Today Show. And every week I would come in and share tips. I put all of those tips into that book, Extreme Balance Makeover. So go right to KimJacobsShow.com, get those 2 books together, and we'll ship them out to you, autograph them, and get them in your possession. All right. There are other books there as well, but I just want to make sure you know that there's a current bundle deal. You can gift it for the holidays as well for Rise Up and Extreme Balance Makeover. All right, we're going to take our quick commercial break. You ready to talk to us about destinations, Sharon, right after this break? All right, everybody, we'll be right back right after this break. Hello, everyone. I'm Kim Jacobs, and I am inviting you to be a part of Promise Fellowship. Our church is at 604 Doug Mays Place, the Oasis Shriners Building, on Sundays at 10 a.m. Now, Promise Fellowship, get your mind right. We're going to have ourselves an epic Jesus experience. We believe that you are to stand on the promises of God. There are over 7,000 promises in the Word of God, and those promises belong to us. So we're standing on the promises of God, and we're fellowshipping together and being able to come together to know how to apply the Word of God to our everyday lives. I am so excited and cannot wait to greet you and meet you in person. There are going to be so many people there to welcome you as well and to just pour that love, the love of God, the love of Christ onto you. We're excited about seeing you Sunday at 10 o'clock a.m. right at the Oasis Shriners building at 604 Doug Mays Place in Charlotte, North Carolina. Have a great day, and I'll see you Sunday. All right, everybody. We look forward to seeing you on Sundays if you're in the Charlotte and surrounding areas. And we also do have live streaming as well. So Sharon D. Brown talked to us about self-carepreneur and getting to our destination with how we can be our authentic selves.
Yeah, pretty much when it comes to that, it really does take us as individuals to truly renew your mind. That's really where it comes down to. And I want to say a lot of times we're not just always renewing our mind, but it's like how much do you study you? Because you know, like being an entrepreneur and being in business, it's like, oh yeah, go to this master class, go to this summit, go to this conference. But how much do you study you? Because if you're not understanding you, like why you do things, but it's not even just why, but it's really more so to be able to implement, as it is said, to meditate on the word day and night and kind of going back to affirmations. That's part of it. Because even though I was born full of being affirmed and I had that within me, but I was giving it all away. I wasn't pouring anything into me because at the time I thought, hey, I'm good, until it wasn't.
I see, you know what? I think personally, that's why I'm going to be doing Promise Fellowship. Exactly. I told you backstage. You actually came to our launch service so much, but enjoyed seeing you. Listen, when I think about things that God has given me for Promise Fellowship, I think I'm actually freezing here a little bit. Yeah, this internet thing keeps happening. I don't know what's going on. Yeah, you go ahead and keep talking for a minute.
Okay. And so pretty much when it comes to being authentic, it is for us to study ourselves, but to also to execute, to implement all of the different things that we're learning so that we can be. And I know earlier you were talking about like, what is the struggle? And the struggle is really part of the human thing. It's like, yes, we're here to be of service to others, but at the same time, we cannot be bothered by the worldly stuff. And so the struggle is, let's just say, if you need to, let's say you were doing a favor for somebody, or you were offering somebody something, whether it was business, personal, whatever it may be, but you may need to cut ties. But let's say that person really do need your service, need your offering, but something's just not in alignment. As humans, it's the hardest thing to do, because part of it was like, oh, well, I'm blessed, so I need to bless others, but it's not in alignment. So self-care comes into, what do you got to do so that you can be unbothered, so you can be in alignment with your own destination? Because if not, you're going to be off course. Those are the things that take us off course.
Oh, the point I was going to make earlier that I need to say while my internet's working okay is literally that every church, I don't know about every church, and I can't speak for every church, but at Promise Fellowship, I'm excited about having people like you be a part of the ministry in some regard, whether you're a member or you're not, but I would hope you be a member. But anyway, because every church should have some things like this, that you get a chance to say, no, this is not my area of expertise, but guess who runs that department?
Yeah.
Voila. And get over there, get those kinks out your shoulders, get you some self-care help, get you some financial wisdom and management, so you're free in the whole self-carepreneur experience. Because there are entrepreneurs at every church, and we need the information that you're sharing here today. Okay, go.
Yeah.
Keep going. This is
Yeah.
some good
Yeah.
stuff.
And so a part with that, because you remember I was talking about Pretty much again, kind of like going back to crying for 40 days and 40 nights. And that does something to your body, that does something to your spirit. And like I
Right.
told you, it wasn't until I went deep within myself in a meditative state. And so that means that when we are feeling uncomfortable about something, for the most part, it's just going to last for about 90 seconds, to be honest. But it's the thoughts and it's the energy that we put towards it that sometimes that make it last even longer, or even relive the things that we may be reliving. And so a part of self-care too is like, do you really take, a few moments to really get your breath, to take that deep breath and to settle yourself? And a lot of times people don't say, oh, I got to do this and I got to do that. I got to run over here. But if we're talking about breaking generational curses,
Mm,
as well as closing that gap, that economic gap, so we can have generational wealth. A part of taking care of ourselves is to make sure we're settling ourselves.
mm,
Because if we're not settling ourselves, because this is within our body, so we can not just renew our mind, but renew ourselves in the way that it need to be renewed,
mm.
then the generational breaking the generational curse isn't happening. It's just looking different
Wow. Okay.
because we're not healthy. We still have high blood pressure, still have high cholesterol. We're still part of it is the exercise, part of it is, the eating, but a lot of it is us renewing our mind, our spirit, our soul.
Uh,
And we have to sit down and make sure that we're in alignment, because again, no one said it's going to be easy, because that's where the struggle come in, because
Oh,
we're giving
now
in so that we won't feel like, oh, okay, I gave them a cup of water, so they should be okay.
hmm, okay.
Yeah.
This is good. What steps do you recommend people take to start getting more grounded and understanding how to be more authentic in their journey?
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. It really comes to, I have the four pillars of self care. And I say four pillars plus one. And generally, the four pillars are self awareness. That's the biggest. And self awareness is exploring yourself, investigating yourself, reflecting, getting to know yourself. Some of it is reading, some of it is going to workshops and going to a therapist, going to a life coach to learn different aspect of yourself. That is the biggest. And then the next one is sitting in silence. And a lot of times people say, oh, I can't sit, it's too much.
Okay.
And to be honest, if you do not train yourself, start slow, but if you don't train yourself to be able to sit, then are you truly authentic? Because it requires you to truly get in touch with yourself and to be in alignment with your, um, divine destination, divine assignment. And then the other one is deep rest. It's similar to sitting in silence, but it's a little different. It's not sleep in and of itself, but to be able to rest, because especially as entrepreneurs, and I just recently had this revelation myself, there is a difference between rest and recover. Because
Mm,
being an entrepreneur, like sometimes it is go, go, go. So
yes.
sometimes you may not need to rest, but you may need to recover.
Mm,
And deep breaths can go into that, because there's different ways that you can recover so your body can rejuvenate and you can have that clarity in your mind. Because again, kind of going back to breaking those generational trauma, um, in and of itself, it's not just about, I put it like this: the things may look different, but
right.
are they truly different?
Mm,
Meaning, like, do you yourself have high blood pressure? Do you yourself have diabetes? Do you yourself, have other things? And we know that other things can come into play, but even like when it comes to cancer and how much I don't like it, but they're saying that with some cancer can really be preventable. It's
Interesting.
not just a thing that comes. And
Okay.
so, meaning that a lot of it does require us to take that time. And then the last one is movement and action. Movement and action.
Movement and action.
Yeah, movement or slash either.
Okay. I'm just
And
typing what
move.
you're saying over here too.
And with movement is to get your body moving, meaning you may need to walk, you may need exercise, you may need to, you may want to do yoga, you may want to do personal training, but all of that is needed for us because it helps with our blood flow, it helps with our energy, it helps with removing those unwanted emotions that's inside. Because the thing that people don't understand or really know is that when it comes to emotion, and even when it comes to trauma, it lives in our body. And that's another reason that sometimes talk therapy alone may not always be beneficial. And that's like, even for me, I knew that talk therapy alone wasn't going to help me because it was just too much. You know what I mean? And then when it comes to the action, it means to take action. As they say, prayer without work is dead. And so sometimes when we're getting those downloads, there's certain things that we need to do, we may need to implement in doing all of that. And so it's really taking the time to get to know yourself, sitting there long enough to meditate on that, to give yourself, the things that it need, and then allowing your body. I want to say deep rest can kind of look at to absorb the things that you need, and then to, move and take action, when it comes to all of those things. And the plus one is the financial liberation. And I added that piece in there because when I had experienced my parents with all of their medical things that
Mhm.
they endured,
Yes.
in that what I learned, and even when I look at myself, I'm like, oh yeah, that's true too. Is that we can be it can be an illusion that we're financially comfortable. We're doing okay now, but it may not be okay
Mm,
if we not have thought about the future
that's good.
as much. It's not just about saving, but it's about putting certain things in place. So
Mhm.
the decisions that we make and even the habits that we have now for our mind, body, spirit,
That's good.
it, may not support us in the future. And so when it comes to that financial liberation, it is tied directly to our health as well, because of the fact that if we, let's say for instance, I mean, we can look at diabetes in of itself, especially someone who has severe diabetes and who may need, unfortunately, a ligament may need to be amputated, and just with the insulin and all of that, of how costly that it can be. So financially, it's in that sense. And then if somebody goes into a diabetic coma, and then what it takes to take care of someone, what they need for themselves, what they're able of, but if they need home health or private, it's like, can we really, we can't depend on the government. You know what I'm saying? So how can we set things up for ourselves? But the other part of that, it's not even for the sickness, it's to be well. It's kind of like one thing that I discovered, like we were talking about being an entrepreneur, about going to I'm about to say retreats, but that's true too. But going to master classes and having business coaches and going to conventions and summits regarding the business side. But we also need to make sure we going to things to help keep us authentic, meaning to go to different type of retreats. So we need money for that too. It's not a luxury. It's a
Right.
way of being. It's like, what are the things that you need to truly be yourself? because you may need, let's say, like I'm a self-care consultant and coach. You
Right.
need me to help you. You like, you know what to do, but for whatever reason, you're not doing it. It's
Mhm.
because sometimes we need the voice of someone else. Sometimes we need someone else to push us,
Yes.
when it come to those things. And so we need to hire other people, or should I say someone to be on our team to help motivate us, inspire us, but really to push us.
Mhm.
Because when we're not, it pretty much doesn't, again, it interferes with us being our authentic self.
That's good. Okay, so I want to know who pushes you out there. Who pushes you? Somebody type in the comments section. Who are you accountable to? Who do you actually say, I go to this person to to say, hey, this is what I committed to doing for the week. This is what I'm doing. And you can check up on it to make sure that it happened. And I can tell you that a lot of people don't have accountability partners. And
Mhm.
hence today we have Sharon D. Brown here with us, and she is willing to be your accountability partner for self-carepreneurs strategies, with financial management strategies, with affirmations and ways to just be your authentic self. It's a whole well-rounded package that she's offering. And I want you, Sharon, to talk to people about something that you have coming up. And let's see, let me pull this up. You have an event that's happening. Talk to us about it, if you will.
Yes, with this particular event, being authentic workshop, it pretty much helps you to align yourself, to awaken, sometimes those shadow parts inside of us so that you can achieve all the things that you can. And it's going to be this Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And pretty much what it is that we are talking about being authentic, what are some of the things that get in the way. And then it allows you to go 7 layers deep, because a lot of times we're not sitting with ourselves, when it really comes down to it. Don't get me wrong, sometimes it can be kind of scary as certain things can come up. But the more that you sit with yourself, it can just be asking yourself the same question over and over again. And it allows certain things to come up. Because, like, in order for you to hear that, soft voice, that voice that you need to hear, is
Mhm.
to be able to sit still and be able to reflect. And we're doing all this stuff for our business, but we don't always do it for ourselves. And so
Yes.
we need communities to do that. And we need communities to, like, some individuals, don't get me wrong, you're doing really good out there. But even for myself, because I'm like, you know what? I do need to get, like, in communities in certain areas, because it's very easy, especially when you wear so many hats and you have so many things going on. It's easy to fall off the wagon. So by being in community with individuals and taking different type of workshops or sessions and offerings, it allow you to allow yourself, how, like, in marketing, the whole purpose is to stay top of mind.
Yep.
You need to stay on top of mind of yourself.
Good.
So this is what, the self-carepreneur is all about. It's like, don't forget you in the process, because there's no need of you doing all of these things, but still in the end, it kind of be the same result as our parents, or, I'm going to say the very thing that we're trying to avoid. Because if you're not taking care of yourself, unfortunately, you can end up there.
Mm.
And so by, you know, looking at yourself and then looking at your finances, it's going to help you, because anything we don't talk about don't get talked about. Anything we don't do, it doesn't get done.
Bottom line, no matter how you slice it, no, there's no other way to put it. When I sit with myself quietly, sometimes I'll just be sitting in my room in the dark, and just literally with a notepad. And that
Mhm.
is the time that I get the most communication with God. And sometimes my family will be like, "What you doing? What you doing?" I'm just being. I'm not
Yeah.
even doing anything for once in my life. All I'm doing is just having a conversation with the Lord and
Mhm.
having Him deposit some things into me. But it's so much noise always happening in my life that
Mhm.
until I make those concerted,
Yep.
intentional efforts for that to happen, it doesn't just happen, you know?
Yep.
So listen, I see your comment. Let me put my glasses on here. You say, yes, it can be very scary to evaluate yourself, fear of what comes up. So true. And most people don't want to face it. Lady J said that, Lady Justine Hilliard. And by the way, she was at our first service too, her and Apostle Dennis Hilliard. And what a blessing you all are. So glad that you all are a part of fellowshipping with us as well. Listen, I see people over on Instagram. I don't want to leave any of you all out. Oh, great. I don't know how to go back to the comments. Lord have mercy. But I see you business in a bucket, and I see all of you that have joined in over there. I'm going to have to say your comments as you put them up, because then when they get further up, I can't even see them on the screen. But I can tell you, I'm really appreciative that you all are here today. Congratulations. Congratulations. Thank you so much for your comments. So, in the comment section, there is a link. It says Authenticity Meditation Workshop. Go ahead and register to be a part of that event. That's this Sunday, October 27th. Is that correct?
Yes, that's
And
correct.
that's from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And if you get a chance, you can tell her that the Kim Jacobs Show sent you, but you can put it right here in the comments section that I am attending. So she'll already know, hey, I'll be there. I'll be there. I'll be there. Say something so that Sharon knows that you will be in attendance this Sunday. And if you're watching the replay, definitely just make sure you connect, because sometimes people are watching a replay, because I'm going to play this episode again. And so if it's not October 2024 that you're watching this, that means that you're watching a replay. And make sure you go and connect with her to find out whatever other event she has going on at the time that you may be re-watching this broadcast. Okay. Whew, Sharon, I heard that through the grapevine that a fun fact about you is that you wanted to be like a solid gold dancer. Is that correct?
Yep.
What's a
As
solid
a
gold? Let me type
teenager.
this in. What is a solid gold dancer? Hold on, I gotta type this to see. Oh, okay, y'all. So back in the day, there were the solid gold dancers. I knew that term. Let me pull this up. I gotta pull
Mhm.
this up. This is okay. I just did a Google search. That's all I did. And so I wish I knew how to crop and do all of that stuff. I'll put your head on one of these pictures. That would have been funny. I don't know how to do that. But look, here we go. Here we go. There's a solid gold
Yep.
dancers. So envision Sharon in her leotard as a solid gold dancer. What in the world was that about, Sharon? Tell us.
Again, I think if I remember right, I think they were on the Arsenio Hall show, if I
That's
remember right.
right.
Yeah, yeah. And so, of course, I used to watch that.
Uh-huh.
And, being a kid watching that, in high school, it was just, it's like, oh, again, y'all, I'm not a dancer. Ain't no
So
need
I
of
was
me
gonna say,
trying.
start doing
But
something.
I was always fascinated by it, though. And even to this day, I'm still fascinated by dancers. But one thing I will say, the closest that I would get to it is by with yoga. That's the closest I would get to it. So
But you never don't never say never, because guess what? You might be on the liturgical dance team. You saw how they danced on Sunday, right?
yes,
They did a beautiful job.
they did.
Well, until they put me in the middle of the chair and then start fanning. I was like, girl, I gotta preach the word. How am I gonna do this? I'm gonna be all slain in the spirit. You might be one. I'm gonna be like, and today we have Sharon D. Brown. She's gonna do a solid gold.
Solid gold spiritual dancer.
Anyway, all right, yeah, that's my John Travolta. Listen, y'all, we have already had a beautiful time on today's episode, and I really do hope that you will go ahead and get registered for the workshop. I put the link there in the comment section. If you want to connect directly with Sharon, which I'm hoping that all of you are flooding to her form of communication so that she can connect with you one on one, you can go to I am Sharon D. Brown, and she will be happy to connect with you. And do it today so that it's, sometimes you have these thoughts and ideas and all these grand plans, but then you don't take advantage of them, right? So if you do it today, it will happen today. I am Sharon D. Brown. Let's see, any more comments came in? I saw comments. I want to disregard any. Okay, I see you. Lots and lots of love, hugs, and kisses, and congratulations. I see all of your comments, and let me go over here to your Instagram too. I see you all too, and thank you all so much for your active participation today. Did anybody have a closing question or anything that you wanted to ask our expert, Sharon D. Brown? And Sharon, while they may be typing a question, I just want to make sure that I see all of your comments on Facebook too. Congratulations. And I see some funny faces and emojis that y'all are putting up. I see y'all. All right. You can't have a show without having a great studio audience, right? So thank you all
Exactly.
for being such active participants. What are the closing thoughts or comments that you really want us to walk away knowing today, Sharon, as a self-carepreneur expert?
Yeah, the main thing I really want people to walk away with is take the time to investigate you. Really take that time. Even if it's just 5 minutes, just take the time to be with yourself. Because the more that you're connected with yourself, I know sometimes it may sound like, ooh, but it's really not, because again, we're not connecting with ourselves, and then especially to be able to embody something, in doing some deep breaths or something. But yeah, just really take that time, because it's not even about being distracted, it's being disconnected from ourselves. Because too busy,
Mhm.
if you're so busy, again, it pulls you away from yourself. So you have to intentionally do the things to stay connected,
That's
you know? But yeah, that's the main thing. When you investigate yourself, you learn about yourself, and you learn how to be better. And also, in being better, it doesn't always, how much I hate to say this, but it doesn't always mean it's going to be pleasant.
that's
There's going
true.
to be some discomfort, and that's just part of it.
I'm glad you said that, the discomfort, because again, I can only use myself as an example
Mhm.
because I know me, and sometimes even in us knowing ourselves, we really still don't even know ourselves because we
Mhm.
have to take more time to investigate ourselves. But one of the things for me growing into my new version of myself is I had never gone to the movie theater by myself. Like, that wasn't something I did. I either always went with Frank on a date kind of situation,
Mhm.
or with my children, or if it was family date night, but I was always at the theater with someone else. So
Mhm.
I forced myself to go to the movie theater in my 50s by myself. I was
Yeah.
like, what in the world? I have to wait until somebody can go with me to see a movie that I want to see before it leaves the theater? The
Yeah.
devil's a liar. I'm going to see the movie because I want to go see the movie. And I don't want to wait until it comes out on Netflix or on whatever platform. I want to go to the theater, eat my popcorn. So I did that, Sharon. And it was a time because I was sitting there. I'm so used to, this is a whole different incident, but I'm so used to somebody being with me, and I don't go and see scary movies and stuff because I'm too paranoid for that kind of stuff. But when I went one time, and it was a thriller kind of thing, so it was still a jumpy moment. I'm
Mhm.
so used to subliminally being with someone that in the one moment I jumped on the person that was next to me. The person was like, I don't even know the person. It was a couple. So that's even worse. So you would think in this other man had it staged for me to be on the other side of him because I jumped on the man. I was like, oh, I am so sorry. But just out of habit.
Yeah.
I use that as a silly example that when you're
But
used to
it's so
something,
true.
you just do what you're used to doing. So I'm used to cuddling and leaning on the person next to me, but I was at the theater by myself. Why am I
Mhm.
leaning on some stranger?
Yeah. Yeah. It's so, so true. But yeah, investigate yourself and embody, practices to help you, stay connected with yourself.
Yeah, and connect with your own self at the movie theater. If you're by yourself, don't connect with another couple that's in the seats, that's in the couple seat next to you. That's the whole silly takeaway. All right, listen. Today's episode has been very enlightening, and I'm so honored that you came to be not only our Freestyle Friday expert, where you normally come, but to come and be a standalone guest today was so much of an enjoyable experience, Sharon. So thank you. Thank you. I want you all just to make note again, and you can scan this QR code here. She has the Self Care You Academy Authenticity program that's happening, and it is going to be an incredible workshop. So you want to be in attendance this Sunday, October 27th from 6 to 8 p.m. And make sure you scan that QR code. Reflective prompts and guided meditation will be happening by your very own Sharon D. Brown. And what is this image here? Let me put this up too. Oh, tell people about this too. Tell people about this image.
Oh, okay, okay. Yes, with Self Care U Academy, pretty much we do consultations and coaching, as well as courses and workshops and things of that sort. And we do it for individuals, of course, who are entrepreneurs, but then also for organizations of the sort. Because again, especially for individuals who are in leadership role, and by being an entrepreneur, you are a leader. We want to make sure that you connect with yourself and you have the tools and everything that's needed for you to have healthy and wealthy habits.
Yay. All right, everybody. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of The Kim Jacobs Show. We will see you again Monday through Friday at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And thank you for those that contributed to our broadcast today. If you haven't had a chance, make sure you do that at some point throughout the rest of the day. And I will see you all again at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time as we bring balance to the world, one household at a time. Thank you, Sharon D. Brown. Solid gold dancer. Have a great one, everybody.
Thank you for tuning in to today's episode of The Kim Jacobs Show and for being in the virtual studio audience. Your presence truly does make a difference, and I look forward to you bringing your friends and family to join you in the virtual studio audience Monday through Friday at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I look forward to seeing you and make it a great day.